Hello and welcome to another episode with me, Seema Pateel, an expert in all things content marketing. In today's episode, I'll be talking to you all about client onboarding. So, what do you do when someone pays your invoice and signs your contract? Of course, you do a tiny happy dance, and then what? Let me first define what client onboarding is. Client onboarding is when you welcome your client and make them a part of your project process. Depending on who you ask, this could begin when you send them an email to get on a discovery call with you, or it could begin after they've paid your deposit and signed your contract. I hope you're taking a deposit of either 20% up to 50% just to make sure that they are really serious about working with you and they have some skin in the game. For me, client onboarding starts after they have gone through your proposal, paid your invoice, and signed your contract. Everything that happens from that point onwards until you begin their project is what I define as client onboarding. You need an onboarding process because if you're working with multiple clients, you need to be able to know where each project is. Almost all kinds of do it for you services need some kind of input from the client before they begin the actual project. Using the time between signing of contract to the beginning of the project to get this homework done ensures your project stays on schedule, your client has enough time or breathing room to do the homework and get it to you on time. The reason I believe onboarding is very important in your project process is so you're aware of what needs to be done and you do not miss important steps in the project. The reason I consider having a solid onboarding process under your belt is for two things. You want to leave a great impression with your new client before even they start working with you, and they feel even more confident in your abilities to see this project to completion. It is important that the client feels very confident in you so that they do not have buyer's remorse and they do not keep considering and reconsidering if this was even a good decision to hire you. Quite often, when we make a big purchase, we happily make the purchase out of emotion at the time of giving our card details. However, once we are over the high of having purchased it, we do tend to worry, reconsider our purchases. We tend to want some sort of validation that this was a good idea. And if you do not help your clients deal with this and get past it, you may lose out on clients during the wait time when you're working with more than one client at the same time. And who doesn't want to have a wait list of clients be booked out for the next 6 months to an year already? So, a well thought of onboarding process considering your client and their needs is what is going to make you stand apart from all the other web designers. So, what can you do in your design business to have a great onboarding process? You have to start with understanding how you want your client to feel after having decided to work with you. You may have already provided a kind of experience for your clients from the moment they started talking to you, from the moment they sent you an email or a message showing interest in working with you. The way you have sent an email asking them to schedule a call with you, or the way you continue the conversation further from their first point of contact has already impressed them. That is the reason they decided to get on a discovery call with you. And signing a contract with you is another of their steps to validate that you're doing really great already. So, how can you keep this up for the rest of the project duration? The very first thing that you should do is handle buyer's remorse. So, how do you do that? First of all, send them a welcome email with all of the information that they need right now. Give them the details of the contract that they have signed, a copy of it, thank them for paying the invoice on time, probably send them some kind of reading material that you think they might enjoy, that might help them with the homework. And it's important that this reading material is enjoyable for sure because nobody really wants to read something unless it's absolutely entertaining or necessary for them to do. And letting your clients understand that this is necessary may be a little harder You can also send them video tutorials or video snippets, which are no longer than 5 minutes, where whatever you want it to be in written content, you can explain it in those 5 minute long videos. Introduce yourself, you introduce the way you work, or whatever information that you want them to have is on point, but in detail. You can also send them a physical gift. You can send them a gift box from Greetable. They have gifts in every range. I think it starts from $5 or $6. You could just email them a Starbucks gift card in the same email. Starbucks gift card is my preferred way of welcoming my clients because it's easy, and more often than not my clients do love coffee. So if you're already aware what your client likes or enjoys, you can send them a gift relevant so that they actually really do appreciate it. If there's a long gap between them signing the contract and you starting the project with them, then make sure you send an email at least once every 3 or 4 weeks, just touching base with them, telling them how you're excited about working with them, giving them a small snippet of information that will help them get to their homework. And depending on how your process is set, you can start sending them the homework prompts or workbooks about a month or so in advance. That takes no longer than 15 to 30 minutes, and have them fill it up in stages. This will make it easy for them to not be overwhelmed with all the brand strategy questions that you actually need answer to. This will also help when you actually have a brand strategy call if you do have it in your process. This is where having a set process comes into play and helps you create the systems that you need that can be automated, like the welcome email that goes after they have signed the contract, the email that has details about your gift, the questionnaire emails, all of them can be automated. If you do not have a preferred tool to automate, I recommend Dubsado, the client relationship management system that I use to automate all of this in my business. The reason I recommend Dubsado is because it hosts my invoices, my proposals, contracts. It has the option of creating workflows, which is automations, where I can send emails that are triggered based on an action taken. For example, if they book a call with me using my scheduler, that is also via Dubsado, I send emails and reminder emails for the call. I can send emails post call where I send the summary of the conversation if I want to, where I've stored canned responses that I can send after tweaking for each client and the action that they've taken, where I can set up the monthly emails that go to the client, which I want at a particular schedule after a particular action, probably. So Dipsado handles all of this for me. I understand it's an investment and it's a worthwhile investment for me. However, if you're not in the position yet to invest in a tool for this, then I have suggestions for you which are free. The very first one would be your email marketing software. If you do not have one yet, and if you cannot pay for one, I recommend MailerLite because it's quite intuitive. It's free for the first 1,000 subscribers, and it does have decent automation that you can implement for your clients. Now, if you don't have a process already to handle all of this, let me take you through it step by step. So, this is where I take you through my onboarding process. Um, let's start with creating a process for yourself, and the best way is to make a note of it. If you do not enjoy having to write in a notebook and then transfer it to your project management tool, then you can start using the tool directly, like I did. And there are multiple options to use if you don't have a preferred project management tool yet. I tried Asana, and that is something that a lot of designers love for their work. And it has both list and board system. This is really old. I don't know where most of my content is already. It's been such a long time that I haven't used. I've tried Trello. This is my very old design process workflow board where I Trello I prefer because it's more visual, so it works great when I have a very simple workflow, and you can move cards around as you please. You can add more lists, so you can create your process sequence, you can assign tasks to people. It's the same with Asana as well. However, I tried ClickUp, and since I tried ClickUp, I haven't worked with Asana at all. I work with Trello for my content calendar because I like to move stuff around, and I like the way um, Trello looks. I like the customization. So I have the groups that I post in, the posts that I can copy the post that I have posted to this group onto another group. So all of that easy movement um, makes me want to prefer something like um, something that's in a board form. However, in my ClickUp uh, workspaces, I keep it in the form of lists quite often so that I can just check them off as and when needed. This is my project template. I can copy folders from here to my client templates or my personal spaces or my other spaces. Like I have a lot of planning that goes on over here for a lot of things. So this is my preferred project management tool, and this is my onboarding process. This is what I implement in my own projects when I work with designers. So the very first thing is I have to make sure that the proposal is accepted and the contract is signed by both me and the designer. I know Dubsado does have that option now. It did not in the beginning, so I had to. And before I used Dubsado, I used to use HelloSign.com to send contracts. The contracts signed via HelloSign are legally binding, so that is what I used to use. And it's sometimes easy to forget that you've signed or not, and all of those things. So I do have it in my checklist. Ensure invoice is paid. Sometimes what happens is Dubsado, you can access the proposal, contract, and invoice at the same time, and it is possible that a client, though is eager to start working, has forgotten to pay the invoice due to some kind of difficulty and didn't yet have time to talk to me about it. So I do have that just to make sure everything is in place, because this helps especially when I have clients starting later. So this helps with that. And then once the invoice is paid, I have a workflow that gets triggered, and I send a welcome packet and a Starbucks gift card. Like I have a canned email where I just have to go to Starbucks, get the code and paste it in my email, and I send that. Once that is done, I create a new space under my clients where I copy the lists, whatever is needed for the client. So I copy the lists onto their board, I assign that to them. And I actually I prefer not to dump everything. I tried it. It was very overwhelming. So I prefer not to put all the tasks in the client's folder at the same time. I do it stage by stage. That's why I have multiple folders here. So once I have done this, I have to go to the projects and enable send the portal link and password to my clients. It just makes it easy to for my clients to view their invoices, emails if I send any via Dubsado, like the welcome packet and proposals and contracts. Everything is available right there, so they don't have to go and check for it in their email. They can go check for it in their client portal. uh, Client portal can be made as fancy as you want to. Again, Dubsado gives you uh, some design freedom. It's not a lot, but I have seen some photographers have really beautiful um, client portals. You can see mine in my blog post about Dubsado. Dubsado, I think. So, anyway, while that loads. So, once I am done with that, I send an email. This is again triggered via Dubsado. A week later, I send an email asking for hosting, website, Google Analytics, Cloudflare, or anything else that I may need from this client. Sometimes I don't need Cloudflare or Analytics because it's a existing website. It's just a redesign, and I don't have to touch any of those. So I ask for the passwords, and I will assess the client's hosting. I do not recommend Bluehost and GoDaddy just because I have seen multiple clients have much slower websites than on my preferred hosting, that is SiteGround. And if you're on a better budget, then WP Engine is my recommendation. So I assess the hosting details. I will send my recommendations to them saying you can use SiteGround. It is really inexpensive the first year, so you can actually test them out, and then you can always go back to your cheaper hosting if you think that you do not enjoy the fast loading websites, or you do not enjoy having your website up all times. So if there's more gap between getting the passwords and assessing the website, then I add the client to my active campaign automation for a project appropriately. So if it starts beyond 30 days or something like that, these things can take up about 2 or 3 weeks. I can send emails in sequence for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but beyond that, if I want to send something, I don't have to think and plan. My automation in active campaign takes care of that. And if that is not needed, then my next email is usually the project timeline saying this is when your project is starting, these are the milestones, this is when you will be able to see this part or review this part and all of that. And then any homework that needs to go to the client, the next email is that. And assign tasks accordingly, assign dates to the tasks in their client board, and then schedule a project strategy session as the project beginning schedule gets closer. So this is all that I do for my client onboarding. You can steal this as is. I'll put a PDF link if you want me to, so you have an easier time copying these tasks. Otherwise, this is where you have it. So I hope this has been helpful. I used to use HelloSign for contracts, and I used to use Acuity scheduling. It's a little bit more detailed. However, the other option is Calendly. It's just that in the free tier, they have a lot of limitations, which I don't have anymore with Dubsado scheduler. So I used to send uh, specific work related strategy calls or discovery calls schedules via Acuity, and I used to send coffee chat emails. The scheduling, I used to do that via Calendly, and I used to send my invoices through Wave apps. This is my bookkeeping software. Right now, I this suffices. I don't need to use QuickBooks. This is free. All of the tools that I've talked about so far, Asana, Trello, ClickUp, HelloSign, Acuity, Calendly, and Wave apps, I only use the free option. Dubsado is the only one, along with ActiveCampaign, of course, that I pay for. Dubsado now is $35 a month, but when I purchased it was when I signed up with them, it was $20 a month, and then I used one of my colleagues' affiliate codes, so I got a discount of 20% for the first year. I'm on their annual plan, and if you use my um, affiliate link, then you also get 20% off on your first month or your first year. So that's a great saving, actually. So my first year, I paid only $160. I mean, if I was paying for Acuity, I think it's $10 a month. Acuity or Calendly is $10 a month. If I was paying for Asana for something advanced, it would be $10. If I wanted more secure ways, then I would have to pay for HelloSign. They have a paid tier. Considering all the tools that I'd had to pay for, I think Dubsado is a steal. I mean, if you want everything in one place and they are constantly giving you a lot of features, they are listening. They listen to user experience and requirements, and they keep making their tool better and better. And that's why I love Dubsado very much. It's the same with ClickUp, but my project management needs are not that great. It's just that this is a lot more organized than Dubsado's tasks, and that's why I prefer ClickUp for my project management. Otherwise, Dubsado would do if all I had to do was have a list of tasks. I can assign it to the client's projects and work with it. But I wanted a little bit more organization. So this is an amazing tool for all of my needs. There's not almost, it's all of my needs. I mean, they can do a lot more than that I use for. That was a lot about Dubsado. And if you want to use my affiliate code, all you have to do is just put in my name, Seema Pateel, single word, and you get 20% off your first month. And I promise this video is not sponsored by them. It's just that they have some raving fans like me. I hope this was helpful, and let's get out of the screen. Now, I'd like to know which of these you already have in place, and what is the one thing that you plan to implement that was on my list today. Please post it in the comments below. I'd love to know how you've set up your onboarding process. In my next week's episode, I'm talking all about how I managed to overcome my anxiety about creating content and getting visible. To get notified when I post that episode, please subscribe and do hit the bell icon. I'll see you next week. Bye.